If you've ever gone to an orchestra concert, you might have noticed that the orchestra only tunes to an A. They don't get the other notes. Now, the reason for this is that we tune the other strings of the violin relative to that A. Now, the violin has strings that are tuned in an interval. So an interval is a musical distance that we call a perfect fifth. So the fifth means that it's 5 notes apart. So if I count up from A to E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the perfect part is what we call quality. So intervals can have several qualities: major, happy, minor, sad. We can also have augmented, which means extra wide for now. And we can have diminished, which means extra low. It means a few other things, but this is just basic. And we can also have perfect. Perfect intervals are really, really important for us. And the reason they are called perfect is because the sound waves fit together. So remember, pitches are the speed of vibration. So that means that the speed of vibrations divide perfectly evenly into one another. That's the reason why if I play an A on my open string and I play, which is 440 hertz, vibrations per second, and if I play high A, it's 880 hertz. Now this is a 2-to-1 ratio. Fifths are a 3-to-5 ratio. So what you need to be able to do to tune relative is you need to be able to hear what we call beats. So I'm going to give you an example. And this is not beat as in rhythm. This is a different thing. This is a physical phenomenon. So if I play an A on my open A, and then I play another A, this one I'm going to play my, actually I'm going to do A and I'm going to do E and E because I only have one adjuster. Okay, so here's E, and here's another E. Right, same note. This has a brighter sound. This has a darker sound. They sound different, but that difference is what we call timbre. So that's the kind of sound that we hear is different, but the note, the pitch, is the same. They're both E's. Same note. Now, how do I know that this E is in tune with my open E? Well, if I play them together, the sound is going to have a clear, open, pure kind of quality. And that's how, because it's a perfect interval, that's how it's supposed to sound. So any perfect interval should have this clear, open quality. So if I play one E against the same E, it's what we call a perfect unison, P1. So it's an interval of a perfect unison. So the distance is called a perfect unison. Unison just means the same. So now, if I just rock my finger back slightly and play them together, you can hear some pulsing in the sound. That pulsing is the beating. Now, remember, I was talking about A being 440 hertz, because that's what we've chosen. I forget how much E is, some odd number. But the number of pulses that we hear tells us by how many vibrations per second we're out. So in laboratory conditions, if I were to record this and analyze it, if I heard 3 beats per second, that would mean that one of the notes is 3 vibrations per second, 3 hertz different from the other one. So I'm in tune, I have no beating. Now it gets very hairy if you're half a hertz off, because that means you get one beat, one sort of pulsing sound, the wum-wums, every 2 seconds. So you have to learn to listen very carefully. So it's important that you have learned how to play 2 strings at the same time without distorting the sound. So this is quite tricky. So you need a lot of practice playing 2 strings Because what you need to be able to do is to listen and to bow and turn without distorting the sound. So being able to just do this, and you should be able to hear right now that I'm not quite in tune. So just listen to my violin for a second because it's got lots of beating happening between the A and the E, so lots of wum-wums. Wum, 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 wum. So what I'm listening for when I tune the instrument is to make that beating, that wum-wum, disappear. So I turn my adjuster until it disappears. I'm going to assume that my A is in tune. It's probably a little bit flat by now. I think it's stretched out, but I'm going to tune my E relative to the A. I don't know how well this is audible over the microphone, but the upshot is you need to be able to bow two strings really, really well without distorting the pitch, and also hitting them consistently. If you're having trouble staying on the two strings, you need to practice that technique more because you really need a long, long, light bow. Notice I'm not using short little bows. You need a long, smooth, consistent bow so that you can listen. And then you need to be able to do that while turning. And this is why it's so difficult to tune the violin. Ooh, and my fine tuner is really stiff. So I don't hear any beating now, so I'm happy that my E is in tune with my A. So bow two strings at once really well. Be able to bow and turn, and be able to identify the sound of the beating. Also, if you're not sure if the string you want to tune is sharp or flat, and you have ear fatigue and you just don't know anymore, just pick a direction and go. If it gets worse, it was the wrong direction. Right? Nothing bad is going to happen. Remember, it's extremely unlikely that you're going to break a string using the adjusters. So if you're not sure which way to go, pick a direction. If that's not the right one, then go the other way. The last thing that's really important is that you don't want to turn, when you're getting really close, you don't want to turn so much that you miss when it's in tune. A common mistake that I notice people making when they're first learning to tune is that they're not, because their bowing hasn't really developed so much, they're often passing right by when it's in tune. So you really, really have to listen and wait for it to settle, for the sound to settle a little bit before you adjust when you're getting really, really close. So this can be tricky and it will take a lot of practice. Good luck.